At least 6 dead and dozens still missing after a ferry sank off the coast of Indonesia's resort island of Bali. At least 30 have been pulled from the waters with rough seas hampering search and rescue. President Prabowo Subianto has called for an immediate emergency response, and authorities say they are prepared to expand the area of search.
A near-midnight voyage on one of Indonesia's busiest sea routes, turning into a nightmare less than half an hour into its journey. The KMP Tunu Pratama Jaya, bound for Bali's Gilimanuk port, was carrying more than 60 people on board when it left Ketapang port in East Java just before 11 p.m. local time. But 25 minutes later, the vessel tilted and sank in the waters of the Bali Strait in the dark of the night. Some 20 vehicles, including trucks, were also on the ferry, which is commonly used for travellers crossing the islands by car. Rescuers are racing against time, searching the seas for any sign of the missing. The National Rescue Agency has deployed a helicopter and several underwater rescuers for the operation. Also joining in efforts, around 400 personnel from the Navy, police, as well as local tugboats and fishermen. Authorities say waves as high as 2.5 meters and strong winds and currents had hampered overnight operations, though conditions eased in the morning. Police say many of those rescued were unconscious after drifting in the choppy waters for hours. Some recounted their harrowing experience.
Jadi sama anunya, jadi tidak begitu melompat. Karena sudah dekat air. Akhirnya mungkin ya apa agak jauh ya tidak ikut kapal gelap kan, air kan ikut ke dalam. Ya mungkin dalamnya aja 7 meter saya juga kenaan itu. Naik.
Family members of those on board gathered at a nearby hospital and the departure port, seeking any news about their loved ones.
Pihak rumah sakit itu ngasih kabar kepada saya, katanya pihak keluarga saya itu ada yang jadi korban tenggelamnya kapal itu di Gilimanuk. Terus saya kesini ternyata tidak memungkinkan keadaannya.
Korbannya meninggal gitu atau gimana?
Iya, meninggal.
The sinking of KMP Tunu Pratama Jaya is a third such incident in Indonesia in a third straight month. Ferry tragedies are common in the archipelago of more than 17,000 islands, partly due to lax safety standards and bad weather.
And Chandni Vatvani joins us with more live from Jakarta. Chandni, that report there. Those who were found alive had in fact been drifting and been unconscious, in fact, for hours as they drifted in bad weather on the sea. So, in fact, it is not an exaggeration to say this is a race against time if we want to find any survivors alive.
Absolutely, Wei Su. At this point, officials have found 36 people, 6 of whom are dead, including 1 child. Out of the 30 remaining people who have survived, at least 21 have been reunited with their families. And at this point, Indonesia's National Search and Rescue Chief has said that they will conduct operations up to 194 nautical miles per square. The focus of the search is currently directed at a point with a depth of around 50 meters, which is suspected to be the main location of the sunken vessel. Now, again, at this point, officials say, or rather this particular point, this 50-meter depth point, officials say is of particular concern considering the diving terrain is quite challenging. Now, he said that their main target is to try to save victims who are possibly still alive. And so they are looking to essentially create a network starting from elements that are in the sea, including all residents on the coast. Approximately 400 personnel have been deployed, as you mentioned, or as you heard earlier, rather, to assist and support in these operations. And officials are conducting a joint operation, which is including police, ferry operators, local fishermen, port agencies, among a number of other parties. Now, Ferry operators have also been asked to remain alert and report any sightings. Local fishermen have also been asked to help report anything unusual. Surabaya's search and rescue chief, meanwhile, said that if not all victims were found today, officials then will expand the search area. Now, he's also said that with the development and discovery of victims, the search area will continue to be expanded, keeping in mind the possibility that some victims could have been carried away by the current or the waves.
All right, Chandni, operations like these, they're invariably parallel because alongside search and rescue, authorities also need to be already looking for evidence to pin down the reasons for incidents like these. Are they any closer beyond just blaming bad weather to finding out why this happened in the first instance?
Well, Indonesia's cabinet secretary in a statement did attribute the cause of the accident to bad weather, but officials are very much still looking into this. The initial assumption is that the ship had a leak in the engine room. Seawater then entered the ship and caused the ship to capsize and sink. The ferry was heard radioing for help. And with over 17,000 islands in the country, marine accidents like this one are frequent, and uneven enforcement of safety regulations has also been a long-standing concern. Sinking vessels here have been attributed to overcapacity, engine trouble, or weather conditions, such as in the case of this ferry. Now, the National Transportation Safety Committee has said that they will be investigating the cause of the vessel sinking. The chairperson of the committee said that they hoped to find the cause in order to avoid this same accident from happening again. The committee plans to look into docking history, what repairs were made, interviews even with surviving crew in order to ensure a data and information match. Now, they've also highlighted improving emergency response at the port.
Oh, thanks. Chandni Vatvani there reporting live from Jakarta on this ferry sinking late Wednesday on its way to the island of Bali. Thanks for that, Chandni.